All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gathering Movement. I'm here today with Miss Kiana Davis, and we're about to have an incredible interview really about her work in the world, her mission, and everything that she's here to bring to the world. So thank you, Kiana, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and share this space with you and everybody else watching. So, thank you.
Yay, I'm so excited. And for those who are new to this little passion project of mine, the Gathering Movement was really birthed out of this idea that most of my focus has always been in the healing, spiritual arts, yoga, meditation world. And in a meditation, of course, I got this ping that we needed to reach more industries. So
Yes.
the Gathering Movement is this intentional kind of gathering and space of people from all different industries. So we have education, we have finance, we have fitness, we have hopefully permaculture, that will be one of the next ones, and the healing arts, with the mission and coming together to empower us all, to help us be the leader of our lives. So we are here. We are here. So, Kiana, I'd love for you to share with us all a little bit more about your business and how you got started in this world in the first place.
In this world in the first place? Well, as a kid, I always felt like I was in some way a teacher and parent. It's funny because my daycare that I went to always said that I was bossy. So when I grew up, I decided I wanted to go back to that daycare and be, a worker. And the director of Children on the Green Daycare in Morristown was a very close family friend, and she decided to hire me. And I worked there all 4 years of high school. I loved it. It was a low income, but there was different varieties of backgrounds, and I just loved being there with kids, and I just realized that I had a passion for kids then, and it just kept going. I went to college for teaching, and I have a K-6 certification. And then when I graduated, and actually during my undergrad, I started tutoring part-time while I was taking classes, and I loved it then. So I decided, when I got out of school and I wasn't sure about teaching full-time, I wanted to help kids in a more individual and private setting to where I could really hone in on what they needed. And then that's kind of how Tutor Kids and More was born. I started tutoring and I offered babysitting, and then it kind of grew into offering group babysitting and virtual tutoring and virtual workshops and events and all different kinds of things. So really blessed, but that's how I got started. Yeah.
And I just see this continuing to grow and
Mhm.
grow, especially with our current climate and current environment, with what's happening in the world.
Right.
So, in your opinion, how is this business, how is your work in the world helping to empower others?
So I feel like, especially when I post my workshop schedules, people are just curious, like what their kids are going to learn. And I feel like I want to be a person that can give resources, but can also give support. And support meaning, I have my Instagram platform where I do post tutoring tips that I use personally, and that tips that parents can use with their kids at home. The resources that I give, even when I do a workshop, I always give extra resources, ones that we're not even going to go over in the workshop, because I want them to have a kind of like an arsenal of things that their kids can go to as resources following the time that they use me, because that's really what I want to do. I want to empower them to feel empowered to help their kids. Because a lot of times parents just feel like they just aren't enough when it comes to helping their kids learn. And it's something so simple, because kids learn no matter what. It's just about how you do it. So I really just, I try and do my best to help keep them learning with or without me. That's really the main goal.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think many or most of the time for parents, I'm not a parent, so I can't really speak to this personally, but the parents might feel disconnected from the process of the child's education,
Yes.
right? Because they go to school, they come home, maybe the parent oversees the homework, but it's a little bit disconnected. So, what it sounds like is that you're kind of giving a new perspective for both the student and the parent in the
Yes.
process of education.
Yes. Absolutely. That's really why when I started business, it was more so I started offering free consultations, because I really wanted people to get the message. I didn't want them to think that I was just in it for the money. I wanted people to understand, like, this is for you. Whenever I'm done with your child, you're still going to have every resource that I ever shared with you. And there's going to be extra things that I throw in because I see something in your child that I might not have known before. And I feel like that's always been really rewarding, is because you make the child feel special by giving those extra things. And then the parent understands that you really are there for the kid, because I want the kids to feel as if their learning is unique and should be honored. It's not going to be, the same as every other student that I'm with. That student is special and unique, and I really do my best to treat them as such. So the materials that I share with each student is going to be different based on that too.
Mm. Yeah, that's really, really beautiful. Have you noticed, like, are most of the kids that you're working with, are you working with them like in addition to school, or are they mostly like not attending the school and just working with you?
It's a mixture. When I first started, like when I first started, I had a both. I had a child in fourth grade who, wasn't doing that well in math, and her parents just wanted her to kind of get more ahead and more confident in her math skills. So I was there every Sunday morning working with her. And then I had another first grade child who, because of her illness, she couldn't go to school. So she was being homeschooled. And I was there, I think 2 or 3 hours, 3 days a week. And
Wow.
that was before, like, I wasn't working at the time, so I was really able to, give that time, and that was really fun. Like, I just had so much fun planning math and reading, and we threw in some science, and we did things, and I felt so at home doing that. So I think as the time has gone on in the past 3 years, I'll be 3 years in business in September, I've definitely had a mixture, but mostly it's people with their kids in school that want extra help, or they want them to get ahead. And a
Mhm.
lot of times all comes down to confidence too. It's always about the confidence. It's like, my kid just, when they're with me, they just, they say they can't do it. And I'm like, yep, it's a confidence level. That's why I got to come in and make it fun. That's got to make it fun.
Okay, you just read my mind, because I was gonna ask, and I'm just curious, like, for kids that are doing really well and want to work with you, is it
Hmm.
more so like they're not doing well in school, or is it like a personal thing on why they think that they can't do well in school in that environment?
Mm, that's a good question, because I've had students who are in fourth grade who are very intelligent and are very capable, but the classroom atmosphere, they feel like they're always under a magnifying glass. So if they aren't doing it as well as everyone else, then they kind of give up. And a lot of the times in certain districts, teachers don't really know how to handle that really, really, really smart kid, but they're just bored. So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for kids when they come to me, and I'm like, I just want you to do what you do. I don't have any expectations for you. I want you to do what you're good at, because I know you can do this, and I know that you are capable of doing it. So I want you to do it in your space and let me see what you can do. I'm not going to tell you what you can or can't do. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is teachers try and tell a student, well, you can't do that. You're not doing it the right way, so you can't do it. And we teachers do a disservice to children when they do that, because you really should give them the okay to do what they can do, and then you can always scaffold and give more, help here and there. But I think that more students come to me, and I'm just trying to help them think they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even about oh no, I can't. No, you can. I just need you to think that you can, and then everything kind of falls into place, if that makes sense. I hope I answered
Oh, it makes so much sense. I'm just like sitting here
that. Okay.
laughing because it doesn't matter what field of work you're in, because I think about with the people I work with,
Mhm.
it's all about like, you can do it, like you can always
Mhm.
do it, you just think you can't do it.
Mhm.
So it always comes back to that. And as you were sharing that, it made me think, like, I don't necessarily think it's the teacher's fault necessarily for
Mm-mm.
this. I think it's more of like a systemic this system
The
that
culture, right?
it's the culture. And funny enough, in high school, I hated standardized tests. I was like, this is dumb. I don't do well like this. Like, I'm
Right.
very intelligent. I'm very smart, but I don't do well on standardized tests. And I wrote a paper on why I thought SATs were dumb.
Yeah.
My teacher thought it was funny, but I'm curious, like, from your perspective, like, where are the shifts needed in our educational system? Big question. Just
Yes,
casual question.
I'm gonna try and pick. I'm gonna pick one or two. There's so many. I think first of all, it starts at the top. It starts at the top. It starts at the intentions being set at the very, very top. Because a lot of the times, the people who are making the biggest decisions that affect the most people are never in the classroom.
Correct.
And that's where I noticed during my student teaching, the way things trickled down, I felt like, well, teachers are getting the scraps, but they're expected to hold the team together, and that's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that in supervisor positions, that they really should come more than, once in a blue moon in their group of their board to walk around and see the classes as they happen, because everybody is doing what they need to do in that moment because they have to do it every day. But you're not there every day to see those moments where it doesn't work out. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go when you told them that this is what they had to do. And that's really as simple as it gets. We get guidelines to do certain things a certain way, and then sometimes those guidelines just don't work out. And a lot of times teachers come together and voice those concerns, and they're not being heard. So I think that the teachers, outside of just in their meetings, in their classrooms, amongst themselves, to their principals, it needs to be more of a, we want to know how we can help you, not you can help us, from the supervisor positions.
Yeah, I think this is like a big conversation because like as you're talking, I'm even going to, the ideals of our world,
Hmm?
which are breeding, that's not the right word, but like encouraging us, like the system, right? So we go through
Yes.
the cycle of you get good grades in school, you go to college, you get the job, you have the family, you get married, like just like the whole
Yes.
cycle, which doesn't take into account the individual, not always, but doesn't always take into account like the individual gift, the individual person, the
Hmm?
uniqueness of us all.
Right.
So these are just the things I'm thinking of.
No, and you're right, because when you think about it, that's really what it comes down to, is that they treat not only the children but the teachers, the grades, as just one. And it's like, we're all individual, we all have different classes with different students with different minds, and it's really hard to cater to those things. I mean, I've been in classrooms where we didn't have enough chairs for kids to sit on. We didn't have, we would play outside on the playground, and some of the balls we would have would be deflated. And it's just like, what are we doing this for if we're not going to give them the best experience that they can possibly have and give them the most learning that they can possibly have? So I'm the kind of person who just wants to come in as an extra, as a bonus, to make the experience better, and give parents a different perspective, because a lot of times parents don't know this. They don't know about the culture and the atmosphere that their teachers and their kids are being exposed to on a daily basis. So I try and give that other side, because expectations are really high when it comes to parents and what their kids should be able to do, because they're your kid, you want them to be able to do great, but sometimes it's just not going to happen the way that we envision. Just like life,
Mm-hmm.
have parents where I have to, kind of in a nice way, just say, your kid is unique, and they might not learn as quickly or as slowly as other kids, and you should honor that, and let's figure out a way to honor that so that they can find their groove, because that's what I want to help them find.
Yeah.
That groove. Yeah.
And just seeing this from the outside and knowing you for 6 months, 7 months, 7 months being connected to you now, the way I see your work is it's not just about, and I said this to you earlier, like you're not a tutor who's just there to be like, let's do the math and then I'm going to bounce and be out. But I see you as providing this whole spectrum experience, this holistic experience for the child that not only encourages like child-led learning and like in really individualized attention,
Right.
but you're not just teaching them, you're talking about confidence and like you can do this, so I really see that as some of your strengths.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I pride myself on, and that's what, and a lot of the testimonies on my website, that's what parents really speak to, and I'm really grateful that it's noticed by so many people, because I mean, I've had students that after we're done tutoring are still texting me or emailing me and just saying like, hey, like I miss you, and I'm just like, I miss you too. Like I just miss being that light in their life, just, I mean, yesterday I stayed on a call for a workshop for an extra half hour to play a game with the girl, because her mom had printed it out on time, and I was like, you know what, I have extra time. And she just was so sweet, and I could tell she was excited to learn, and I'm excited to play. When you can play and learn, learning doesn't become so hard. And that's really really what I want parents and everybody to understand, is that if you go into learning thinking it's going to be hard, then it's not going to be fun. It's never going to be fun if you always think about it that way. But sometimes it's okay for things to be hard and not for us to know things. Like there's so many times that I tell students, you know what, it's good that you don't know because now you're going to learn.
Yeah.
That's the point. So yeah, thank you for noticing that.
I think that's a really good reminder. Now, as someone who thoroughly enjoys learning and wants to always be a constant learner, like I just started a permaculture course because I really want to learn more about how all that whole world works. And I think that what you're planting the seed within them that says, you know, like learning gets to be whatever you want it to be.
Absolutely. You have the control over your learning experience, and so do parents. It's like whatever you put in perspective for yourself and decide that you're going to put energy into, that's what you're going to put energy into. And I feel like sometimes it's sad because I think that kids don't put the energy into the learning the way that they should or their parents want them to because they're not learning how to. How do I do it if my parents aren't, printing off everything that I need for my workshop or looking over my homework or really taking the time? And it's not to say that parents have all the time in the world to do so, but we have to expect what we can expect from a child when they're being, taught certain things. And I think that once we make it more of a community effort where I'm like, I want to make it easy for the teacher, I want to make it easy for the parent, and we all work together, then we all end up succeeding. And that's when the best things happen for the kid because everybody's working together. And that's something I also do for my tutoring is I contact the teacher and I will communicate between the teacher and the parent and to kind of give updates. And it's always dependent on the parent. I have that as a resource to them, but not everybody utilizes it. So I really hope that going forward, more parents just remember you're not alone. And there are some tutors that will actually talk with you and the teacher and help you guys to make a team effort for your child,
You bring a very refreshing energy to this conversation and this world. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So for people who are listening to this conversation and say they're either local, both of us are in New Jersey, or they're not local, what are some of the ways that people can work with you and get to know you better?
So I do have a website. They can find me at www.tutorkidsandmore.com. And then I also have my Instagram page at Tutor Kids and More as well, and a Facebook page, also Tutor Kids and More. And on all those platforms, there's a direct contact to me, and you can reach out to me via email or direct message, private message, and just, voice your interests and ask me questions about the services, and, we'll figure things out from there.
That's so beautiful. What would you say as kind of some final words of wisdom for anyone listening or any parents who are curious about this for themselves?
Curious about
Curious about this conversation.
I would say hi, and you're not alone. That's what I would say, because I feel like this pandemic and everything is just making people just feel that much more isolated. And I've spoken to parents that are just like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, you know what? That's okay, because I don't know what I'm gonna do either. But we're here, and if you need help, you have a resource, and that can be as simple as a question. You want more homework, more resources, whatever it may be. I just you're not alone. That's really all I can take from this. And to ask questions. Don't feel like there's ever a silly question. Just like we tell kids in school, it's the same for adults. Ask the question. Ask for help.
And what message would you have to kids who are feeling alone, discouraged, and not confident in themselves and their abilities?
Find something that makes you smile and do it every day. That's what I would say. Because I feel like little Kiana loved to do simple things like sit outside on a log or climb a tree I mean, seriously, I was thinking for myself yesterday. I was like, you really used to just sit outside and just like to be in nature, and that makes me smile even as an adult. And I think that since we have this world of iPads and technology and everything like that, if that makes you smile, more power to you. But I would just say find the other things, find the things that sit well with your spirit, little one, that make you smile, and do it every single day if you can.
That just made me so teary-eyed. Like
No, because I'm like, I'm thinking about myself. Like, that's what you want to do. That's what makes you you.
Mhm. Yeah, right. And there's this inner child within all of us who just wants to play, laugh, smile, have fun. And I I really honor and value your work in the world because you're helping birth the next generation of humans, right? Who are gonna
Right.
start businesses in this world, who are gonna lead the world, who are gonna hopefully make the world a better place with just being themselves.
Yes, exactly. Thank
So
you so
thank you.
much.
You're so welcome. I just got chills saying that.
Oh, stop me too. So I just know I do this work because
Yeah.
I wanted someone like me in my life, and I definitely was blessed with a few people, but no one to just like keep with me.
Yeah.
And I want to be that keeper for whatever child lets me. I really, I'm just so
Yeah.
blessed. I'm just so blessed.
Well, thank you for doing your work in the world. Thank you for empowering not only yourself, but the parents, the teachers, the children, and making this world a better place. So thank you, Kiana.
Thank you so much for this space, and congratulations to you and all the other featured people. And just keep doing what you guys do. Just keep being you, and you'll be fine.
Thank you.